Good morning, all of you. Today we discuss about the new type of that example. So that example is based on a rate of return analysis. Rate of return analysis. So rate of return is concerned with that interest rate on investment. Is concerned with that interest rate on that investment. So how much rate on that investment in terms of amount and in terms of period. So that decision of investment in terms of that amount and period is depend on that interest rate so we have to find that interest rate from that given principal value, what are the future value, and what at what for the time period. So that interest rate we can find out for that particular given principal value, and also we according to the future value and according to period we have to find out that interest rate. And that interest rate calculation are complex and we use some interpolation method to find out the value of that interest rate So in this example they asked to find out that interest rate. For that interest rate, what will be that future value? After some period of time? For that future value, for that particular period, and for that particular principal amount, what will be the expected interest rate? That we have to find by this example. So each example or these examples are based on certain topic, or we have to find out in these examples. Each example we discussed earlier also, and these also we have to find out certain quantity. With certain given criteria. So in this example we have to find out the interest rate. So what are the formula used to find out that interest rate? These are the same or some modification in the previous formula that we used. So this example is to find out the rate of interest, return or rate of interest on particular return. Value. So here in this example the given data is the so one person, Srinivas, want to purchase a house which cost rupees 20 lakh, in 15 years. Now he is going to put aside a rupees of 10 rupees of 1 lakh each year, for 10 years for this purpose. Towards this, at what interest rate he invest his money to have enough fund to purchase their house after 15 years. So he want to purchase a house having total cost of 20 lakh in 15 years, and for that purpose he put aside a some value 1 lakh each year for 10 years. So at what rate he should put that particular money so that he will achieve that particular task after 15 years. So this is the cash flow diagram shown here. So for 10 years he put a amount of 1 lakh. So some annuity value is a 1 lakh rupees for 10 years. We have to find out the interest rate. At which We have to find out that interest rate at which these 10 equal annual investments, at which these 10 equal annual investments become that particular amount 20 lakh at the end of the 15th year. So this is the cash flow diagram. This is the cash flow diagram for 10 year, for each year, first year, second year, third year. After the 10 year, he invested rupees 1 lakh each year, at 1 lakh at each year, and after 15 year, he will get some amount of 20 lakh, So what will be the rate? What will be the rate from 0 to this years? That we have to find out. Now in this example, if we look at this example, if we look at this example, so in this example, this he first present value of 10 equal investments, 10 equal installments or 10 equal investments he given. So P we can find out, and then that future value of P at the end of the 15th year is equated to the 20 lakh. So future amount is the 20 lakh. And this 20 lakh, how we will get that 20 lakh? By putting that particular value, at the rate of, at some rate I percent for the year 15, for 15 year. So this 2 lakh quantity we will get by putting that particular value, for year 15 at some interest rate I. So this formula is based on the future worth. Analysis. That future worth analysis calculation we already calculated, or already go through from the previous video. So in that previous video we go through such numericals, find the future value from the given entity. For particular given entity, if you yearly invest some money, what will be the future value? At particular rate? So this example use this formula. So this formula we use this formula. So in this formula, so this is the particular formula. So based on that future worth, based on that future worth. So this formula we use it here. So in this formula, so particularly here, that combination of two formulas we use it here. So future worth analysis also, that formula is also used here. And also that here it is a combination of that that present value from that given entity, finding present value from that given entity. That formula also used here. So to know how much money should be investment to get a fixed amount at the end of the every year for some fixed period of time. So that formula also used here. So after investment of some amount for a particular period of time and with some interest rate, we will get a some amount at after some completion of period. So this is the future value. 20 lakh is the future value. And for 10 year we have to invest 1 lakh amount. For 10 year we have to invest 1 lakh amount. So for that, what will be the principle? For that, what will be the principle? That we should also know. And with this principle, with this value, what will be the future value? What will be future value? And that future value is a 20 lakh. That future value is the 20 lakh. So with this investment at 10 year, 1 lakh rupees we invested for particular 10 year with certain interest rate I, that we have to find out. And after that we will get a some future value 20 lakh. After that we have some get a future value 20 lakh. So for that particular future value we have this formula. So this is the combination of our using this both formula. In this example we use this both formula. So this formula is modified like this. So 20 lakh rupees after getting 15 years. 20 lakh rupees after getting 15 years, when we invest some 1 lakh rupees at some interest rate for the 10 years. This future worth become like this. We invest 1 lakh for 10 years for some interest rate I, and this future value we will get after 15 years with some interest rate I. So this is modified. So we write this future worth like this. And then we simplify this. This bracket, or these are the factors. We simplify this bracket. These brackets are called as the factors. These brackets are called as factors, and we already go through such type of the bracket. And just we write down these brackets or factors. And it will appear like this. So this 20 lakh rupees we will get after some investment 1 lakh per year of 10, and after 15 years we will get this amount 20 lakh rupees. So these brackets or these factors we will write here in terms of interest rate I, and in terms of interest rate N, in terms of the interest rate N, and this will be simplified like this. And we will get some equation. Like this. So in this equation, we don't know that I value. We don't know that interest rate, or we have to find out this interest rate. So we will get this, or simplification of this equation in terms of I. We will get the simplification of this equation in terms of I, and we will get this equation. In terms of I. And to find out that we will get this equation in terms of I. Now we put some interest rates. We put some interest rates. Suppose we put interest rate 15%. We put interest rate 15%. So for that 15% interest, if we put this 15%, we will get some value F. We will get some value when we put this I is equal to 15%. We will get some value is equal to 3.125. Suppose we put I value as a 15%. Now we have to find out this I value. Now to find out this I value, we have to put some I value or interest rate. We have to put this I value, nothing but interest rate. So we put 15% in this equation. So we will get, after 15% substitution in this equation, we will get some value 3.125. And if we put in this equation I is equal to 12%, if we put in this equation I is equal to 12%, you will get some value 1.311. So we will get this value as a 1.311. So at interest rate 15%, we will get some value 3.125. We will get some value 3.125, and at 12% interest rate, we will get some value 1.311. We will get some value 1.311. So this interest rate I for this particular condition, or this future value condition, we can, this equation, how we can find out that particular I value for this future value of condition. So when we equate this equation with respect to 0, we will get that particular I value. When we equate this equation with respect to 0, we will get, or in another word we can say that f value should be 0. At that particular interest rate, this condition will be satisfied. At that particular interest rate, this condition will be satisfied. This condition is satisfied when that f is equal to 0. This condition is satisfied when f is equal to 0, and for that f is equal to 0 condition, whatever that I value is nothing but that interest rate. For that interest rate, this condition will be satisfied. So to find out that particular interest rate I value, we put first that I value is 15%, and again we put that I value 12%, and find out that particular value for which we obtain by substituting these interest rate 15% and 12%. So after substitution of 15% and 12%, we will get some future value, or some f value 3.125, and after 12% substitution, we will get some f value 1.311. So on this graph we will plot this. At 12% interest rate, we will get 1.311. At 15% interest rate, we will get 3.125. So we will get this particular curve. We will for this particular linear curve. Now at particular rate I, and when f is equal to 0, and at particular rate I, how we can find out? So this will be found out by interpolation formula. So that particular I value, when f is equal to 0, that I value is nothing but the satisfying that particular future worth formula, satisfying this formula. So when 12% is equal to I, when I is equal to 12%, this much of value f, and 15% of I, we will get this much of value of f. So at what I rate, that f value should be 0. So by interpolation formula, we will get this I value. So 12 minus I divided by, again for the 12, that f value is 1.311, and that particular I, that f value is 0. This f value is 0. 1.311 minus 0, it will become 1.311 is equal to 15 minus 12 divided by particular f value at that particular 15 and 12. So 3.125 minus 1.311. So after simplification of this, we will get some interest rate. I is equal to 9.83. After some interest rate, we will get that I is equal to 9.83. So this, in this example, we have to find out at what interest rate this future value condition will be satisfied. So now in this equation or in this condition that interest rate is not given, and we have to find out that interest rate. Interest rate is not given, and we have to find out that interest rate. So to find out that interest rate, that equation must be equal to 0. To find out that interest rate, that equation must be equal to 0. Now to simplify or to find out when this equation I value at what I value this equation is 0. To find out this, we put some I value. We consider some I value 15%, 12% like that, and find out this F value, find out the corresponding values by solving this equation by substituting 15%, 12%, and with this given condition and by interpolation formula, we will get that I value. Now when F is equal to 0, at that particular value of I, that condition is satisfied. So this approach we also used to find out the rate of return, in the taxes. So in the next topic or in next chapter of depreciation taxes, we use that same methodology. To find out the rate of return. So in that topic also we have to use this approach. To find out the rate of return. So this rate of return we will find out by using this interpolation formula. So at I, so there are three values of I. This 12%, one I value here, at one I value here, and therefore that I value F should be 0. And next value is I value is 15%. So F value, 3 F value we have 1.311, 0 and 3.125. So 0 should be at this location. But for simplification, suppose we consider here. So we have 3 F values, 1.311, 0 and 3.125. Now for F is equal to 1.311, that I value is 12%. For F is equal to 0, that I value is I%. We don't know what will be that I. For that F is equal to 0. And another F is equal to 3.125, that I is equal to 15%. Now by interpolation formula, we can write like this: 12 minus I divided by particular F value, corresponding F value. For 12, that F value is 1.311 minus 0, 1.311 minus 0 is equal to 15 minus 12 and corresponding F value here, for 15 corresponding F value 3.125 minus 12% F value is 1.311 minus 1.311. So that will be, after simplification we will get a 9.83. So this is the find out the rate of return. This will be find out the rate of return for a particular investment. This approach we will also use in next topics. Find the taxes in taxes topic, gain depreciation and taxes topic, and also in that to find out the rate of return for a particular investment, and for particular future value.